playing defensive. Schmeichel's not coming up for this one. Thinks he's done enough.
Is this their moment? It's a Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it! Manchester United have reached the promised land. Ole Solskjaer, 272, have scored the 2 goals in stoppage time.
4,
And the
3,
treble looms
2,
large.
1.
Hello and welcome to the United Community Podcast, and we're back with episode number 7 of the United Community Podcast, and we are just after watching Manchester United win 3-0 against FC Sheriff in the Europa League. Another good win for Manchester United, keeping the pressure on, obviously looking to get top spot in the group. And we have some people over from YouTube who are watching as well, who have followed over into the chat. So you're all more than welcome. Make sure you get your comments in as well. But we have plenty to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're going to do a quick review on the United game itself and talk about, team selection, maybe a couple of the chances. We're also going to talk then as well about Cristiano Ronaldo as one of our topics. Obviously, we haven't had a podcast since all of the hysteria broke in relation to Cristiano Ronaldo, so we're going to discuss that as well. Should he leave in January? Should he be a squad player? Should he be starting? We're also going to talk then as well about what areas Manchester United probably need to improve in relation to the current squad, and will they be doing that in January or not? We're going to take a quick look then at the weekend's fixtures. And of course, then we'll have our usual whale of the week. But again, obviously, we have our usual guest on the podcast. Ricey is back again. And I nearly had him convinced to turn his camera on this time, but he couldn't get it working. How you doing, Rice?
Well, Jack, how are you?
All right, man. All right. Did you watch the game at all? Or did you see
I only
anywhere?
caught bits of it. We were actually training ourselves, so we only got back in there at 9 o'clock. But I was actually just looking up a bit on it there. I'm only actually on my phone now, looking through this. I see Man United had in the stats absolutely peppered them. 24 shots. That Sheriff team had no shots. Is that true? They didn't have one shot in the whole match.
Yeah, it was. It was one of them. It was one of them European nights where United basically just dominated from minute 1 to minute 90. You know what I mean? And it was a very controlled performance out of United. You'd have to say they never looked in any danger whatsoever. Now you'd have to say it.
I've seen the goals
Sheriff,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd have to say it with Sheriff. I mean, they did. They were well organized, and their manager had them well. Like, I know their manager actually only resigned like 3 or 4 days ago, so their new manager only had a few days to work with them. But they were resolute, you'd have to say, and United got a goal 2 or 3 minutes before half time with Diego Dalot, and it was kind of a situation, and I said it on the live where half time probably came at the wrong time for United, considering once you get one goal, you can nearly look at kicking on and getting 2 or 3. But
where are they from? Moldova?
No, they are from. Is it Cyprus? I think they're from Cypriot team. I could be wrong on that one now.
I don't think Cyprus anyway. I don't know where they're from. I thought it was Moldova or somewhere. Why did their manager quit? Are they doing bad?
I don't know. I didn't look into it an awful lot, to be quite honest with you. I didn't see the reasons why, but yeah, I don't know. It could be overacting really, but look, United
from that game, like me asking you there, what do you think of the Manchester United starting lineup? Like, were you happy to see what it was? They went with a fairly strong lineup there. Garnacho a game anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I done my team prediction on TikTok before the start, and I got it all right, bar Garnacho. I was expecting maybe Luke Shaw to get a rest and Malacia to come in. I thought the midfield was going to be the same, which it was, with Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno.
You were hardly thinking Ronaldo was going to start with you.
I thought he was. I did think he was. Yeah, I did.
I thought it was only last week that he was banished to the reserves.
Well, he was, and the reason being that I thought that is obviously Ten Hag was discussing it during the week, and he was asked about it, and he basically said, look, he stepped out of line. His punishment was out of the squad for one game. He got a 2-week fine, 2 weeks wages, and he said he's back in the squad now. So, it was positive talk out of Ten Hag. So I was expecting him to start, and he did. And, but in talks about Garnacho, I thought he was our best player tonight, and he's only, he's only 18 or 19 years of age, if even.
Where's he
But
from?
he is from Argentina.
Oh,
And
lovely.
he was in the first half, he was by far our best player. And second half again, he was positive from minute 1 to minute 90 or whenever he came. I think he came off after 78 minutes or something like that, and got a big standing ovation at Old Trafford. So he was good. He was very good now. But it was a standard enough starting lineup that I was thinking Ten Hag has taken the Europa League very seriously, and especially this group stage now, from losing the first game to Sociedad, like finishing the group top is really, really important, because obviously we see now Barcelona, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, I think, and even I think Ajax are all going to be dropping down, and they drop down into the last 32, the round of the last 32. But if you finish top of your group, you skip that and go into the last 16. So it's very important for United,
Yeah, Atletico Madrid dropped into it too. They are. Oh, they are.
There was a mention of it last night.
Yeah,
Now,
no, you're right. Yeah. Club Brugge and Porto top in the group. They're 4 points behind Porto. Can't be caught. They might even be
yeah,
technically gone. Like,
yeah, I think so.
they still have to play Porto, and
Yeah.
that Leverkusen are right on their tails. But yeah, no, I see the Europa League is really hotting up there. Some
Yeah,
surprise
well,
results
it's
coming
going and
around
it's
there.
going to
Like.
be there's going to be some interesting fixtures in the latter stages, given the fact that all of these teams are dropping down as well. So, but yeah, let me get a couple of comments read out here. Twigs is in there. Paul says, with them shot stats, it just shows that we're missing a striker, which is certainly true, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. Tony says that they're from Moldova. So you were right there, Ricey. Dale with the super chat. He says, keep up the good work. Hope the channel keeps growing. Appreciate it, Dale. And Twig says, Ammonia are the Cypriot team. But look, it's a good result by Manchester United. Not an awful lot to talk about, really. You know what I mean? I mean, the review looks after itself. But what I want to get on to more so than that else, Ricey, and obviously we didn't have a podcast since since all of this Ronaldo situation broke, and I'd like to get your take on it more than anything, given obviously the fact that you're a neutral when it comes to this kind of situation. I'd just like to know what you thought about Ronaldo, and and how maybe you thought Ten Hag handled the situation.
Look, I wasn't aware fully during the week that Ten Hag came out and spoke like that about Ronaldo and said, look, it's water under the bridge, and it's kind of like he got his punishment, which, look, is fair enough. It depends what way you kind of see his management style as. Like, they came out last week, he was very quick to banish him straight down to the reserves. I was just very surprised to see within 7 days, on the 8th day, like back in the starting lineup. I thought that kind of could have been the end of Ronaldo, but he has to, like, Ronaldo has a World Cup coming up. He can't fully throw the ties out of the pram. I agree partially with what Roy Keane said last week. If you just hear me out in this, I like Roy Keane, I like what he says, but I do think sometimes he kind of plays up to the camera, if you know what I mean. Like, just
he is a pantomime villain.
Sometimes he goes against what people think, just to like have that stern reaction to it. But I do agree with what he said on Ronaldo, just in the sense that Ronaldo is one of Manchester United's greatest ever players. If he was asked by Eric Ten Hag to come on with maybe 4 minutes to go, Roy Keane was like, I would have told him to shove it, like 4 minutes to go, and like you had that game well wrapped up. And then on a personal note, I personally don't think that Anthony Elanga is good enough for United of what you want to be at. I can't see him having a massive future at United. I don't think he offers a whole lot to you as a fan. May be different, but Ronaldo, to see these coming on ahead of him, I know they're youth. I understand that. I know there's no real Ronaldo wasn't going to have any massive influence on the game as such, because the game was realistically dead and buried.
Yeah.
But to ask him to come on with a couple of minutes to go, look, Keane did say he was wrong to walk down the tunnel, but he said in that split second he made a wrong decision. But like top athletes can make that wrong decision, you know.
Yeah. Look, I know,
Like,
and go on.
no, it's just I'd like to see Ronaldo succeed for this season anyway. I don't want to see him going out on a whimper or going out like it's going to be limited where he can go in January. I hear he's linked with Napoli and all. Like, but if he's going to be throwing the ties out of Prem, United can't have him. Like, the ideal situation for Manchester United would be if Ronaldo would do what he done tonight, play his bit part for the whole season, uh, put his experience, bring that on down through the youth. Everybody would love playing with Ronaldo, love training with Ronaldo. If he could do that for the year and then let him go do whatever he wants next year. But I don't think that's realistic, is it, Jack?
Well, the one thing I would say about it is, and I'm probably going to be echoing a lot of what the pundits have been saying over the last week or so, and I think Gary Neville was probably one of the main lads that was saying it. He was basically saying Ronaldo is 37 years of age now. He has to start understanding that he can't be the main man in a big team. Now, I'm not saying United are a big team, but I mean, if Ronaldo is looking to go, like, let's take the Napoli connection for all the world. If Ronaldo goes to Napoli, he's not going to start. Napoli are unbeaten this season in all competitions, and they have the likes of Osman that's playing up front, is absolutely ripping up the Serie A. I just don't see where Ronaldo can go at 37 years of age and be the main man, unless you're going back to a Portugal to Sporting or somewhere like that, or if you go to an Eredivisie or
Yeah, you're talking like you're saying if you're at a Champions League club that's like looking at getting to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, Champions League, you don't know where Ronaldo's going to fit in on any team there in a starting lineup consistently.
Yeah,
like he could
absolutely.
come in and play a bit part somewhere. But like a lot of teams are going to look at Ronaldo also for his marketability, because just going on my group chat tonight and the half an hour to the match I watched, and I see Paul Gregory here has said it in the chats, as much as I hate to admit it, like Ronaldo is on the decline, isn't he? His age is catching up. Like,
he is, and like I get a bit frustrated when I'm listening to a lot of the people, like on TalkSport or Sky Sports or BT or wherever it is, and they're saying, no, but this is Ronaldo, and he should be treated differently and things like that, and he should, but and because of the goals he scored, and I say, okay, but fucking, you're not going to take Pele out of retirement and put him back in just because of the goals he scored. Everyone declines eventually, and some players deal with it differently. Some players go off and play in America or go and play in China or drop down to lower leagues, so they can still be the main man. I just can't see Ronaldo doing that anymore. Like, okay, he scored a goal tonight and it was a good goal. But he had a couple of very, very easy chances where he could easily have been on a hat-trick when he actually did get his first goal.
Yeah, I seen one there. He I won't say he ballooned it over the bar, but he kind of took it to the right of the defender.
He fucking ballooned
straight outside the box, just outside the box, right in front of the goal, and he went to curl it, and it just went straight up into the stands.
And that's it. And that's the kind of Ronaldo that we have to kind of get used to now. He's not the mental goal scorer that we're used to down through the years. Now, look, I mean, only 6 months ago he finished, last season with 24 goals in probably one of the worst Manchester United teams in living memory, if not complete history. So I do. That's the
kind of point that Kino was putting across, is in Kino's kind of saying, if you put Ronaldo playing every game this season, Ronaldo would be Manchester United's top scorer. Which, look, given penalties and given chances that are going to be created, he probably would be. But look, you also have to respect Ten Hag.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, Ronaldo probably would be the top goal scorer and probably would have a shitload of goals. But if you're looking at the overall, I suppose, the overall vision for Ten Hag and where he wants to bring the team and what he wants to do with it. If you play Ronaldo all the time, Ten Hag is going to have to change his style of play to suit Ronaldo, more so than Ronaldo suiting Ten Hag's style of play, And I think if Ronaldo was to play every single game, and be the main man, I don't think we'd be playing as good football as we are without him, And I think that's the compromise more so than anything. It'd be a different story if you had a 25 or 26-year-old Ronaldo that's going to be the future of your club for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. But you have a 37-year-old Ronaldo that has stated he wants out as quickly as possible. So I think Ten Hag is dead right to do what he done. I think he's handled it perfectly. Okay, maybe he was wrong to ask Ronaldo to come on with 3 minutes to go. Maybe that was a bit.
Yeah, now I don't. Nobody even knows if that's definitely true. People know that Ronaldo refused to come on, so they're presuming he was asked to come on for 2 or 3. Yeah, like people. Well, I'm assuming that myself, because I'm assuming if he was asked to come on with 15 minutes to go, he wouldn't have been throwing the ties out of the pram. That's enough time for anybody to make an impact. I can kind of understand. I wouldn't do it on a personal level, but I can understand if it's Ronaldo. He's getting brought on there for 3 minutes, and if he just looks at the manager and he's like, "Nah, man, not today."
Yeah, But as well, and you have to think about it as well. Ronaldo has a World Cup that he's planning for, and he doesn't want to be coming on against Spurs and with 3 minutes to go, and Eric Dyer frustrated as fuck and smashing him with a tackle, and then he's out of the World Cup as well. So.
Yeah, just another thing, like he's definitely going to be eager to get a Champions League team in January or whenever he's off, because I even just seen a stat there the other day that Messi is now only 11 goals behind him in the Champions League. 11 goals. I know 11 Champions League goals could take a long time to get, but Messi bagged a hat-trick, you're suddenly only down to 8, and Ronaldo's definitely looking at this too. He's definitely looking at this too.
Ricey, there's no way that Ronaldo wanted out of United and go to a Champions League team to win the Champions League. He's not stupid enough to think I'm going to get a move now to a Bayern Munich or a Manchester City or whoever it is, from Manchester United. The only reason he wants to play Champions League is for his own personal record, his own personal goal scoring record. I don't think he's going to keep. I think Messi will surpass him eventually. What's Messi?
Well, as I've said, 34 or 5. He's 2 years younger than Ronaldo. But as I said on the pod a few weeks ago, personally, I think that Messi will be back at Barcelona during the summer.
Can they afford him now? That's the thing, Unless
he'll go for peanuts. He's out of contract in the summer, so he'll go. They'll do some kind of underhand deal where they give him 5 houses and something else and pay him some other way, and his contract will be just minimal, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with it. I do agree.
Well, Xavi, is definitely if you see what Messi was doing the other night in the Champions League, Messi still definitely has it. He's he was never that player that relied on pace and all as much as Ronaldo. Not that Ronaldo only relied on pace, but Ronaldo was a more kind of straight to the point kind of player, kind of attacker. He'd take him on, do the step overs. Messi would do a lot more 1-2s, bring other players into play.
Yeah,
Ronaldo was kind of more of an individual. But
I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Messi has 129 goals. Ronaldo has 140 goals. And
I mean, it's sick. It's absolutely sick figures when you think about it. You know what I mean? That's that Haaland will have to score 43 goals for 16 consecutive years to match Ronaldo's record. You know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy numbers that both of them have put up. But I think eventually, I don't think Ronaldo has done himself any favors in relation to getting the move away either, with the antics that he's done over the last week or so. What team is going to want to come in for him now and say, well, look what he's after doing there at Manchester United, a club that supposedly he adores and he loves and is, all of this kind of nonsense, I think. He goes to I don't see why he wouldn't go to a Lazio or or even back to Sporting Lisbon or something. He'd be absolutely the main man. He'd be adored, right? He mightn't you know, he mightn't be winning Champions Leagues or anything like that, but he'll probably play in the Champions League. But he'll win a Portuguese league, or he'll win, a cup with Lazio or something like that. But he'll be adored. I think that's what he
Yeah,
wants more than
I
anything
kind of
else.
slightly disagree with you on one thing there. Just I don't think his carry on of late will massively hinder any team signing him just for the fact that he is Cristiano Ronaldo. Anyone that's going to sign him, anybody in the world can see that he's now past his best. No one in any major league is going to sign Ronaldo to win them anything.
Yeah,
If you
it's
get
going
my
to be
drift on that,
marketing
like
more than anything.
they're marking, or else just to have Cristiano Ronaldo, like the Cristiano Ronaldo at your club. Like if someone like the likes of Roma or some of these clubs, like if their fan base has got hold of him, it's just for the sheer
Yeah,
thing of having Ronaldo there. I know he's in past it. I'm not saying he's fully past it. He can still play. As you see, he can still score goals at a high level. He still scores goals in the Premier League. But it's just, I don't think any team in one of the top four leagues will be signing them to win them a league.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll read out a couple of comments here. Ben says, Ronaldo needs to go enjoy football again before it's too late. Big fan of Ronaldo, but when it's time, it's time. John says, not many players seem to succeed when they return to a club for a second time. Would love to see him finish on a high. Paul says, look at Messi after first season at PSG. He started to be a forgotten man, as in people don't talk about him as a player as much. I think Ronnie is afraid of that. Aaron then says, would he be lacking confidence or maybe just feeling his age? I'd say it's a bit of both, to be quite honest with you. But what do you reckon with him? Do you think he'll go in January, or do you think he'll stick it out for the remainder of the season? Or
You see,
what should Ronaldo do and what should United do? Let us know in the comments as well, guys.
I said, as I've stated for the last few weeks to you and to the audience, whoever look at or listen to this, Ronaldo, I think the best outcome for both of them is if Ronaldo gives them the season and he does what Ten Hag wants him to do, and he plays his big part, he passes on his knowledge, passes on his experience to not only the youth coming through, but like pass it on to some of the lads, like even like the likes of Bruno and Martinez and some of these lads, like they all look up to Ronaldo. He's one of the greats, one of the best players of all time. But if he can just manage that properly, not fall out with players, come on, score your winner here and there, play your few Europa League games here and there, playing the Premier League when called upon. As you see, like he has been getting a bit of game time. He just hasn't been in from the start of late. Like he's bar that match last week, he's very rarely left on the bench and not used. So he could still have a big part to play. Like Manchester United are going for top four now. You're looking like you could do it. I know it's still very early days, but you're on the right track to do it. I was looking at a thing there. I think you've only lost 2 out of your last 13 games in the Premier League. And 2 of them, Harry Maguire was playing. So since he's been out of the no, but like that's
100%.
that's not coincidence that like Harry Maguire starts the 2 games, you get battered, and then he played Sociedad in the Europa League and he lost that game, haven't lost since. Like, I don't know, how was he really tonight? He didn't really have to do a whole lot.
Even when he came on tonight, but there was one or two, he got a yellow card for giving a lad a forearm in the face coming up for a header, and it's just and it's just typical clumsy Harry Maguire,
Was he given the armband when he came on?
Oh yeah, Bruno went straight over and gave it to him. You know what I mean? Like it's even the mentality of him. I know he's the captain, he's a club captain, but even the mentality of him to actually take it and put it on. Like if that was me, I'd be like, will you ever just fuck off and keep it?
No, but you can, like, if he goes to hand you that, he can't refuse it. If he refused that, the media circus that would surround that tomorrow, Maguire refused to take the armband.
I don't know. I don't know if that would happen. I reckon you just stay concentrating on the game. You know what I mean?
No, but maybe if he just ran onto the pitch and Bruno, but if Bruno confronts him to give him the band, he has to take it. If he just jogged onto the pitch and didn't go near Bruno, or Bruno didn't go near him, that's a different story. But like if Bruno confronts him with the band saying, here, take this, Skip. You know, he has to take it.
Skip.
Yeah, but that's your
Yeah.
skipper. That's that big 70, 80
But
million pound
yeah,
fridge.
I know he is our skipper and he's our captain and all, but that just goes to show, I think, how well Ten Hag has been managing these situations throughout the season. Like at the start, the number one before Ronaldo was, talks of leaving, it was all about uh, is Harry Maguire going to be the captain, or is Ten Hag going to change it? And Ten Hag just said, no, Harry's the captain,
No,
and
he
there
he
was a
just
bit,
he just
there was a
took.
bit of a backlash from, like, say, United fans going, what, gee, again, why, but Ten Hag was smart. He knew, listen, he can be captain all he wants. Doesn't mean he's going to be fucking playing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he kind of took the easy way out on that. He kind of like bought it out on that. But
No, he
I've
took
even
the
seen,
smart way out, Ricey.
but also the easier way out. The media frenzy that would have surrounded that if Harry
Yeah.
Maguire got dropped. If Harry Maguire got dropped as captain there, I can guarantee you Harry Maguire never would have played for Manchester United again, because that would have been the final nail in any coffin or bit of confidence that he had.
Yeah, and you see as well, like we weren't doing, a lot of quick business at the time in the transfer market. We struggled to get Yuri and Timber for a long time. Eventually turned to Martinez, which seems to be you know, an act of God. Thank God. But I think Ten Hag as well was being smart there. He was saying, well, if I do take the captaincy away from him, like you were saying, Ricey, he'd probably never play for the club again. But Ten Hag knows as well, I'm not flush with centre backs here. I'm going to
Yeah, but
need.
you'd be really putting out that statement that I don't trust this lad if you're taking the captaincy off him. It wouldn't. How do you put it? Like, as I said, it was the easy way out, but as you said, it was the smart way out. Ten Hag waited to see how that played out. You don't have to play your club captain. You don't,
Yeah,
like, look at Ledley King years ago, was club captain at Tottenham, played one every odd game he played, didn't even train or anything, but he was a
yeah.
leader. See, Harry Maguire isn't even the leader, but I'd say the frenzy that would have surrounded that had Ten Hag taken that off him. He didn't need that at the time. Whereas if he took it off him now, which I was reading things during the week, supposedly he has this new captain picked. Did you read that
Ten Hag
anywhere?
has no.
Yeah, the Bruno.
It's good. Yeah, well, you would presume it's going to be Bruno, considering
That's a lot of
the
the
fact.
players and all supposedly even know this. That's kind of word inside the training ground. This is now. I only read this online,
Yeah,
on some page on Twitter there. But yeah, supposedly Ten Hag has like Bruno's lined up there.
yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I have to say, I think Bruno's been. I think he hasn't been as good as the Bruno we had for the first 12 months when he signed. Obviously, he was phenomenal in that period of time, but I do think he's after improving an awful lot under Ten Hag. His energy levels have gone back up. His goal involvements have steadily been increasing, whether it be assists or I think his is it 4 out of his last 5 games he's run the furthest distance than anyone on the pitch.
I know
You
it's
know what I
mad
mean?
though how
So
things can change so quickly though. Like it's a long time waiting for him to come back up at the same time. He was brutal the whole of last season.
yeah,
Like
he
he was
was, he
very poor
was,
for
but
like.
who wasn't? You
I
know what
know,
I
but we're
mean?
going by his standards too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he came in and lit the place alight in that first 6 months. But he came in January, did he?
Came in the January, so he was
Yeah,
nearly 18 months on fire. Like,
he 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 lit it. And but just going back, yeah, United's performances have been better of late. They fully deserved. I was hoping to actually do a pod there Monday because like that was a very good game, like, the Chelsea match, like from both
yeah,
sides. Draw was the fair result. Great,
yeah, it
like
was. I think, yeah.
great, really, to see passion from players like Casemiro there. I think he nearly pulled the badge off the jersey when he was running over to the crowd at the end. Like
And Martin has
he,
nearly pulled the fan out of the crowd.
yeah, he was giving it beans. Like, and to be fair, I was sitting in a pub watching it with a mate of mine, and he turns around and he goes, "Jesus, this Chelsea manager could be the real deal." Potter.
Potter, yeah.
He goes 7 games now, hasn't conceded. I'd say 4 seconds later, Casemiro scored. 7
Yeah,
games,
yeah.
hasn't conceded. 4
But
seconds later.
what I was impressed with that game more than anything is, and I was saying it during the live watch along, was that it wasn't really a game of two teams up against each other. It was a tactical battle between two
It
managers
was like a
more than
game of
anything else.
chess. It was like a game of
Yeah,
chess. When one manager made their move, the other manager made their move. They almost just
yeah.
cancelled each other out. But it
But
was,
I have to give credit to Potter, like you were saying there. That one of your mates was saying, he could be the real deal. I think he is the real deal because it takes a lot of balls for a manager after 35 minutes to go, this ain't working. We need to change it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And he did. He made that tough decision. He made the
I was
change.
just, I was just wondering what United were going to be like because I didn't really, although I watched the United match the week before against Tottenham, I didn't really buy into all the hype that like I heard you saying it like this is the best we've played in 6 years, and like you did play well, but you played a bad Tottenham team. Tottenham were chronic. They were very
Yeah, but
poor on the day.
I do agree
And
with
like
you.
your
But I
goal came
think
from a deflected goal from Fred. Like it's not as if you
yeah,
battered him off the park.
but well, we did batter him off the park, Racy. We absolutely destroyed him. Like we could have easily been 4-0 up after 20 minutes if you had if Haaland had been playing, for example, up front for United in that game, he would have scored 5 goals easily. You know what I mean? Like we dominated him from minute 1 to minute 90. And
Yeah,
I think I
I
do
know,
agree
but I
what you're
just
saying. It is a poor Tottenham side, and it is. And I think a lot of the a lot of the a lot of the a lot of the performances by Tottenham this season have been masked by the results they've been getting. You know what I mean? They're very, very negative. But I
yeah,
think the reason, one of the reasons why they were so poor is because United made them look poor.
yeah, they did like, but I just wouldn't look. He backed it up with a decent result against Chelsea. So you did all right, but also think Tottenham had a very bad result last weekend, which almost took a bit of gloss off
And
your
then last night,
magnificent, yeah, which takes a slight bit of gloss off your magnificent best performance in 7 years. I know, look, you're getting excited and the kind of wheels are, they're starting to click, get oiled up a bit more there, but I just don't think that, I actually thought that Tottenham side was starting to click, and
yeah. Well, I mean, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was actually a United podcast, but they had a Tottenham fan on it, and he hit the nail on the head. He basically said about Conte that we will put up with the negative football that Conte brings for 2 or 3 seasons if it brings trophies, you know what I mean? Or if it brings success. But if you're not bringing success and trophies, it's a nightmare of a way of playing. You know what I mean? Like Conte, and I think that's why he hasn't lasted very long at all of the jobs he's been at. One of the reasons is, because he's basically Mourinho 2.0. You know what I mean? He's negative. He's defensive. I mean, you have Harry Kane and Heung-min Son in your team, and he doesn't really use them to their strengths.
yeah,
Now I do
I was
think they're
reading Son
missing.
once out.
Yeah, I do think they're missing. Like they went in heavy for Eriksen in the summer as well,
Did
and
they?
obviously Eriksen. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were in for him big time, and
I don't know.
uh,
But
they
Ericsson's only
were.
two options there for a long time was back to Brentford or
Well,
United.
Spurs had a contract offered to him and all. They actually had an offer on the table for him because he was obviously a free agent. But I
Yeah,
think
probably
that's
15
exactly
grand a
what's
week.
probably you wouldn't know with the way they run the club. But I think that's exactly what they're missing now at Spurs. You have a Harry Kane and you have a Heung-min Son that are these unreal players going forward, but they have no service. They have Bentancur, they have Højbjerg, and they have who's the other one? I can't remember who the other one is in midfield, but no creative player there at all, and I think that's exactly what they're missing, to be quite
Yeah,
honest.
and even your man Kevsky or whatever you call that fella,
Kulusevski, yeah.
yeah, has been injured there for the last 2 weeks.
And he's been very good. He's been one of the
Yeah, he
players now
has.
that I've thought he's been absolutely fantastic.
He
But
came in.
in relation to Manchester United, and and me now, I'm not going to get too carried away. Obviously it's come on, I don't. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose you're not biased either.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'll call a spade when I see it, you know what I mean? And like I think it's finally it for the first time in a long time we have a team that's actually that we can actually like. I like the players. I
I know, to
like
be
the
fair,
mentality.
I like to give out about United and I like to give you shit, but there's a lot of likable players. I like Anthony, even though he can be a bit of a gimp there, like he does a lot of,
Spins and
just Yeah, but look, he is a good player. He's a bit raw, but he is a good player. Like in that Chelsea match, I think it was last week, he left two lads on the wing sitting
Yeah, that's
when
right.
he turned and looped back around, and
Yeah,
it was
Chilwell.
it was very, very good. But I'm just looking. I was having an eye on the table earlier on. Like United are currently sixth; they're only 8 points off the lead. I think you have a game in hand over some of the teams above you. Not all, but some of them. But like that, you would have probably taken that as this time. You were never thinking you were going to title challenge this year. I don't think any
No.
United fan was. You want to get what's ideal for you is if you could get top four, preferably third. Like secure, not only barely get in fourth, like second to be all the better, but like third probably realistically the best you can hope for. Um, but you have games coming up. You have West Ham at home, you have Aston Villa away, and you have Fulham away. They're your last 3 league games before they break for the World Cup on
Yeah.
the 15th of November or something like that. But they're 3 very, very, very winnable games on current form. And if you go in at the end, if you go into that break with another 9 points, I guarantee you'll be in top 4.
Yeah,
Going
I
into that
agree with
break.
you. And
If you can take 9 points from 9 here, now you have a few games in between. You have Villa in the Cup, and you said that Betis game is big, is it, to get that top?
Real
You miss
Sociedad,
or
yeah.
Sociedad, sorry. You miss you miss around the fixtures, do you? If you win that game. Do you say that? You don't go into the
Yeah,
32,
well,
you go straight in.
we'll have to play it around the 32 rather than going straight into the last 16.
Yeah, so that you don't want that extra fixture, But
No,
so that means
absolutely not.
that's a big game there, and that's away. And then you have Villa away, I think, on that Sunday. But West Ham, Villa, Fulham, there's 3 very winnable games there. I know West Ham are decent. Villa, look, they'll have that bit between their teeth now, wanting to make it proven to a new manager. Fulham away, have to be beating them. If you want to be getting top 4, you have to be beating the likes of them.
Yeah, well, you see there now that United are after playing 9 out of the top 11 teams so far, and we're only after playing 2 of the bottom 9 so far. So we have had a difficult,
Yeah,
obviously everyone has to play everyone, but we have had a difficult-ish, start. And now, look, I do know a lot of them games, like the Liverpool game was at home, the Arsenal game was at home, the Spurs game was at
yeah, but
home, and they're all
yeah,
teams
but
that we
sure,
do have to put
that's
away
the
at
that's
that.
the look of the fixtures too.
Yeah,
Like
of
it's
course.
like it evens itself out over the season.
Yeah, but look, I certainly do think that United have given themselves, I agree with you there, that United have given themselves a very good platform to kick on now, after the World Cup. Obviously, the 3 games that you mentioned there are winnable games, and really we should be putting another 9 points on the
But
board
like
before the break for the World Cup.
anything can happen at the World Cup. Like players can get injured. They can. Like this World Cup is realistically a disaster having it at this time. But if you go into that full of confidence, like there's going to be a good few Manchester United players not going to that World Cup.
Yeah.
The only thing is they have a bit of extended squads, don't they? I think the English can bring 26 or 7 now because
Yeah,
it's
there's
mid-season.
there's lads on emergency like reserve panels then as well and stuff like
Is it
that.
like is Rashford? Will he be in the squad? Not Rashford.
I would
Will Sancho be in the squad?
No, I don't think Sancho's going to go, to
No,
be
I
quite
don't think.
honest with you.
But I don't think he's good enough to go on current form.
No, I don't
Like
think he's
where
his current
what's
form is
what's
nowhere
Sancho?
near good.
What's Sancho's position?
He was bought as a right winger, as a right forward.
But he's not
But he's
fast.
he is, but he just doesn't run fast. I don't know.
And when I say
he seems
fast, I'm not saying that he's dead slow like Harry Maguire. I'm
yeah,
saying for
but
a
he's not
winger, he's not
Rashford
fast.
pace, like. Yeah. But
But you know the way
he
some
just
players, you just ask where do they actually play, or where should they play?
Well, he played primarily on the right as a right forward for Borussia Dortmund alongside Haaland, and I don't know who they had on the other side. And so that's what he was brought in for, because United needed a right-sided player to challenge Greenwood at the time. And when he was brought in, all of a sudden then it was, no, he's not really playing off of the right anymore. He's playing off of the left. So he was then challenging the likes of Rashford on the left-hand side. And that's primarily where he stayed. And I think that's why we went out and bought Anthony, because obviously you have your inverted wingers and Antony is a left footer playing on the right, and obviously then Sancho is a right footer, and Rashford a right footer playing off the left. But he just seems to be the type of player that's kind of playing within himself at the moment.
Yeah, I think
And
he's the
because
definition of overflayed English in prices.
maybe
He
so,
was a,
maybe
he,
so,
I
but there
think
is a
so.
talent there.
I'm not saying, look, he wouldn't have been at Man City as a schoolboy, then on to Dortmund if people didn't see things on him. You don't think United had scouts that went and looked at him 40 times before they bought him. But I just think that the price and the age that he was bought for at the time, what was he, 60, 70 million or
70
more?
million, yeah.
Like, that is crazy. 70 million
Yeah. Now, in
British
fairness,
pounds
he did
sterling.
rip it up he ripped it up in the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
Like,
but even at the
absolutely
time
ripped
when
it
you
up.
bought him, and I don't mean to be having pops off him, but even at the time when you bought him, he wasn't the player you needed. It was
No,
like
he
he was a
wasn't. Oh,
marquee name that would keep the fans happy for a little while.
yeah, no, but that was typical of the spending at the time when we were going out and buying the likes of Jadon Sancho, and we desperately needed a defensive midfielder. You know what I mean? Like, it was absolutely crazy. Like, if you look at the last season that he played with Dortmund, he played 38 games in all competitions, scored 16 goals, and had 20 assists.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
serious.
That's
Serious.
serious figures. Like, that's a goal involvement a game, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what he was bought on the back of. But he obviously he hasn't hit them. He hasn't hit them heights. Nowhere. Came
But
nowhere
he hasn't.
close to it.
I don't think of what now. I don't watch Manchester United as closely as you do, but I don't even think he's remotely got close to anything like that. Like, even showed glimpses
No,
of it, really. I
no,
know
he
he's probably been
hasn't.
played out of position a lot, but it's terrible when you buy a lad for 80 million and you're trying him in all these different positions.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, like,
I do think if there's anyone, there's probably 2 or 3 coaches that can get the best out of him. I do think Ten Hag can potentially be one of them. You know what I mean? In terms of working with young lads, improving them, all of that. So, like, I'm not going to be overly quick to judge him. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this is his second season, and you know, I do think the way he plays the game fits into the style that Ten Hag likes to play. But after that, it's up to him to to pull his
I
socks
just
up.
can't. I just personally can't see really what he offers. But
Yeah.
look,
No,
that's
I agree. I totally agree with you. You know, and
just from
he's
the
been nowhere
direction
near
that you're
good enough.
going. Like, look,
Yeah.
hats off there. Anthony came in. Like, he's. I won't say he's taken it by storm, but he's fitted
He's hit
in
the
there
ground running.
nicely. He has. He does his nice bit of showboat, and I think he's very likable. Like,
Yeah.
look, if I was a diehard Liverpool fan, I'd probably hate him.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, like, he's run over. But like, as a United, like, for you as a United fan, you see him running over there. What Chelsea player did he laugh in the face like of the Chelsea player
Oh,
when he got
Mason
that? Like,
Mount. Yeah.
you know, just like
Yeah, that's deadly. Yeah, just
like
shithousery. Like,
shithousery. But then going on, I see another thing today. Donny van de Beek on his way out. Look, they can just write that off. I was reading on the Manchester United page, came across on Twitter, that I think they're
yeah.
nearly willing to just write that off and accept 12 to 15 million for him. And just like, even when he went to Spurs, or not Spurs, when he went to Everton last season, he didn't show any glimpses of even being anyway up to the standard. I don't know what
Nah,
happened to him,
like
because when he was at Ajax, he was absolutely balling.
yeah, well, I said it about Donny, and you know, I like Donny, but he just
I
looks like
like
a
him
lad
too. He's a
that,
likable character, but
yeah,
that
he just
that's
looks
not
like a
going to
lad
pay the
that
bills.
just has no. And what I was saying there was, for Donny's Manchester United future to be secured for a couple of more years, what he needs to do is, first and foremost, he needs to stay fit, not because he's had a lot of injuries in the last 12 months or so. So he needs to stay fit. Then he also needs to put a run of 6 or 7 games in the team consecutively. He also then needs to keep Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno Fernandes all out of the team. I just can't see him doing it. You know what I mean? I
No, I
really
can't.
can't. So I wouldn't be surprised. You know, maybe not in January, but I
I'd
think
say
next summer he could
he
go.
could go in January. Do you know where he's going to go as well? He's just going to go somewhere like some rotten club like AC Milan or something like that. Someone like, they bought Origi there. Do you know, they just take
Yeah, like
washed
Giroud and
players.
all of that.
Yeah. Although Giroud's doing very well over there.
Yeah, he
Um,
is.
but like going then, what be your if you could sign first of all, if you could one position in January, don't worry about who for the minute. One position, January,
Striker. Has to
striker,
be. It
right?
has to be Ricey, right? So if you're looking at it, right, there was a stat that I was looking at between what was it? The European game that I went to was the Ammonia game. So that game and the Newcastle game came after it. In them two games, United had 48 shots, right,
Yeah,
within them two
36
games. And
against Ammonia and Nicosia.
yeah, now that includes block shots, shots on and off target, right? 48 of them in two games, and we scored one goal, you know. And you look the other night against Spurs, was the next game. Spurs could easily have won that game. I was saying to myself, I said, these fuckers now are going to get a penalty. It's going to be Harry Kane penalty 1-0 after we destroyed him, all because we didn't take our chances. You look at Chelsea the other night, we should have been at least 2-0 up after a half an hour with Marcus Rashford's chances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not a
Uh,
nine. He's not natural enough
no,
finisher.
he's not. And then tonight, we look at it took Diego Dalot to come up for a header just before half time for us to take the lead against, lesser opposition, just to be kind. So I think the priority has to be a striker. Now, on saying that, you do not get world-class strikers in January. You just don't get them.
Suarez,
Yes. Yeah,
Luis
Suarez.
Suarez.
Yeah, look, I'm sure there's one or two of them there. Suarez wasn't world class when he came to Liverpool, though. That's the thing.
Suarez was world class when he left Liverpool.
He was world class when he left Liverpool. Did he leave in January?
No,
No, he came in January.
he came in January, but like he took it by storm. The Premier League.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
did
was
take it by
world
storm.
class. He was world class.
But-
Like he signed for Liverpool. When he signed for Liverpool that time, he could have. I'm not saying they were in for him, but he could have. He would have been good enough to sign for Real Madrid, Barcelona, any of them. He came from
Yeah.
Ajax, was it, with an absolute sick record? I know a lot of people.
Yeah, but he
know.
came from Ajax. He came from Ajax after biting a lad as well. You know what I mean? Ajax wanted him gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. My point is that it's very hard to go out and buy in January because clubs don't want to sell.
Inflated prices. There's
inflated. Well, United will always have inflated prices on the players.
Unless a player wants out. Now the next question is: you want a striker? Who do you want? If you can have your choice in January.
I mean, there's options. Like if you gave me my number one choice, that
half realistic now, not Benzema.
Well, all right. Well, if you're going realistic, yeah, right. Well, then that changes that.
Who was your unrealistic option?
My unrealistic option was Nkunku from.
Has he not signed pre-contract or something with Chelsea?
I don't know. I've heard something like that. I don't know. I don't know how that could be true if they've just bought Aubameyang.
Oh yeah, but see that Aubameyang, that PSG are trying to line up a pre-contract for Aubameyang for next year, 12 million.
Maybe
for the summer.
I have heard the links between Nkunku and Chelsea, but yeah, he would be my number one. But if you're going realistic, Ivan Toney has to be in the mix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a quality player. You have to say he's Premier League proven. He's doing it with a lesser club, which is always a good sign. And he's the right age. And he fits the kind of stature and profile of the type of player that Ten Hag likes. You know what I mean?
He's a big centre forward. I don't think he's an out-and-out striker or an out-and-out goal scorer. I don't think he'd get you 25 goals a season. I do think he's a very good striker. I don't think he'd get you 25 goals a season. I do think he would do very well for Manchester United. Don't get me wrong on that way. And I do think he will be a good signing. I'm not putting it off that at all. I just don't think he's that out-and-out striker. Do you know, like he's a bigger man? Say, going back on United, was Sheringham a 9 or was he kind of like a centre forward?
He was never a number 9, but he was he would be the modern day kind of number 10, dropping out, looking for the ball, linking up 1-2s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Now Tony's not that
coming
either.
Late into the box.
I just think Tony's your big old-fashioned centre forward that can get about. Like, he's not this just big target man. But yeah, I'd like to see Manchester United with like an old-fashioned number 9. Do you know, like a York, someone that's just
Well,
in
it's
about.
always been the style of striker that United have gone for. They've gone for, they've always tended
Van
to have
Nistelrooy,
out and
goal
out strikers.
scorers. Yeah,
Yeah, of course, Van Nistelrooy, Wayne Rooney, maybe Wayne Rooney to a lesser extent in relation to he sacrificed his game an awful lot for the, when the likes of Ronaldo was playing with him. But that type of player, an Andy Cole or players like that. But you have options then, like for example, Exhibit says here, unrealistic player. He'd go for Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan. Like, you're going to play Savage. You're not going to get him in January, but it's, the likes of Osman for Napoli, is in
where's
unbelievable
he?
form at
Where's
the
he
moment.
from? I don't know him.
I'm not sure his nationality, but he's absolutely tearing it up in Serie A for the last
I,
few years now.
I see a thing linking you with a striker. I think he Leverkusen, Patrick Schick or Schick or something. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I've heard links to him as well, but we've also been linked to Cody Gakpo from PSV, who's been tearing it up in the Eredivisie, playing under Ruud van Nistelrooy and just
Yeah,
absolutely destroying that. Now he is primarily at the moment a wide left player, but can play as a number 9 as well. So there has been talks of United were in for him in the summer, and there's
I
talks of
know.
maybe going back in for him.
It'd be nice to buy someone who's primarily a number 9. Ye have plenty of lads that can play on the wing and as
Yeah,
a 9. You have your
and there's a
Marshalls, you have your Rashfords there. Like, you don't
yeah.
need any more of them. Like,
I would be
lads that
happy with
you're
even the likes
converting.
of Yeah, I would be happy with, say, for example, the likes of Seshko from RB Salzburg. Now we were linked with him as well in the summer. Now he's your out and out striker, and he's doing really well in the Bundesliga. But initial reports in the summer suggested that he was going from RB Salzburg to RB Leipzig. Sorry, he's playing in the Austrian league. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
he's
he's
playing
going
with
from
Salzburg.
Salzburg. He's going from Salzburg to Leipzig.
A lot
But
of
there
people
has been
tend,
a
a
lot
lot of
of
players tend to do that.
they do that to keep it within within the RB group, but there has been reports suggesting as well that United are going to go back in for him, and there could be a chance of getting him in the
I
summer,
don't know
but
if you
we just
watch any of the
see.
Spanish league. I see João Felix, who was like once upon a time, as in last year or previously the year before, like absolute baller, like
Yeah,
had 80, 90, 100 million price tag slapped on his head. I think he has a massive buyout clause, but he's only coming on in games for like 3-4 minutes. Then he's getting
yeah.
15 minutes here and there, starting the very odd game.
Mm.
Don't know, is he just out of favour or has he
I
taken a
don't
step
think he
back?
gets.
Or
Yeah, I don't think he's getting on with Simeone at the moment. I was looking at reports throughout the week, all right, suggesting that he's basically sick of the negative play, the negative style of play that Simeone plays,
would he be
and he
something that
wants out.
interests you? He'd be more of a centre forward now than an actual 9.
Do you know what, Racey? I'm trying to not get excited about these big name signings. You know, right? That young lad, has bags of talent and went for massive money. But why did he go to Atletico Madrid? You know, um, why isn't half of Europe in for him? I don't know. I think that we've been United as United fans, obviously since Ferguson retired, we've been burned too many times with these fucking big name signings, your Di Marias and your Lukaku's and these kind of lads. Whereas I would be more on the Ralph Rangnick side of things, where he suggests going out buying young players on their first and second contracts with the potential, to be the next big thing, and because he was involved in the RB uh, clubs throughout Europe, and that was their that was their kind of business model. Get these young lads in under the radar on their first and second contract, scout them really well, get them in, develop them as players, and then in 2 and 3 and 4 years' time, sell them on for massive money. Whereas obviously you can knock that last bit off for United because you don't need to sell them on for massive money.
Yeah, he came
And
out.
that's where your your Martinez's that we signed this year, your Anthony's that we signed, they're the type of players that are the types of signings that I would more prefer going for.
He came out during the week, Ralph Rangnick, Wreck-It Ralph, and said that he tried to sign several players for Manchester United and tried to put these lads in the window for Manchester United. A lot of these players have all moved since 2 new clubs. And he said United's answer was just no. He said he tried to sign Nkunku from Leipzig, said that he was inquiring about Haaland. Look, everyone probably inquiring about Haaland. Realistically, with that whole Keane thing, was never going to go to United. And that just kind of comes more to light after it, because you see him, John, just various interviews, he's like, oh, we won't even say their name. He kind of makes out as if he hates United.
Yeah, but he agreed to sign for United 2 years ago. When Solskjaer was a manager, only United wouldn't put the release clause into the contract.
And then he says he also talked about signing Alvaro Morata, which is junk. I think they do some kind of money laundering, moving him around the place. I don't know how he gets the moves he does. But Luis Diaz, your man Dusan Vlahovic, do you know that lad up top? He's decent. Up top
he is decent.
Up top, these are some of the names that he just thrown out there that it's easy. Talk is cheap. It's easy for him now to say. He can easily come out and say he tried to sign anyone. It's not as if United are going to be getting into an argument with him in the press, being like, you didn't tell us to try and sign them. So he can kind of come out fairly freely and say that. I don't know if that is true, but Diaz would have been a tidy player for you to get. Vlahovic would have been a very tidy player for you to get.
Yeah,
Haaland obviously would have been a very tidy player.
But outside the strikers, I think we do need another centre midfielder.
You definitely don't need a CDM. Are you saying?
No, we don't need a CDM. We don't need a CDM.
Like your Frankie.
Reports have suggested that United are going to go back in for De Jong, which will be interesting. And I think, given the situation that Barca find themselves in now, I think that door is probably as wide open as it's ever going to be. For
but does he even want to go?
I don't know if he does. I don't know. I think, a lot of the talk last year was he was happy in Barcelona. He liked the city and stuff like that. But I think more so than anything else, he wanted to play Champions League football. But Barcelona, if they don't get their act together, are not even going to qualify for the Champions League out with La Liga.
Jeez, I don't know. They're flying it in La Liga.
Are they?
Yeah, they're second. They've played 11, won 9, drew 1, lost 1. The only thing they lost was Real Madrid. They're 3 points behind Madrid.
Right, okay. But yeah, I don't know. Look, it'd be interesting.
That's why I don't know how their form isn't carrying over. But I looked at their team during the week in that Champions League. Like, they played your man centre half that they signed from Chelsea. They signed they played.
Alonso.
Marcos Alonso played centre back against Bayern Munich. Bellerin was right back. What?
No.
And they signed a lad there during the summer from AC Milan. They got him on a free transfer now. So look, even if they sell him, they'll make money. I don't know. He is like the most un-Barcelona player you could sign. That Kessie lad.
Oh, yeah.
You know him?
Yeah. I think United were actually in for him.
Now he's a big, strong CDM. But he is not.
Yeah.
He is not Barcelona. But I think they might have had him signed even before, on a pre-contract, even before Xavi came in fully, Xavi only came in this summer, did he? Or was he in last year?
No, he was in last year as well.
Oh, was he? So it was actually a Xavi signing. But maybe it was just because he was free then. I don't know.
Maybe so, yeah. Right, before we wrap up, we'll do our whale of the week. I'll let you go first.
Sure, look, the whale of the week just has to be down again to VAR for the second week in a row for me anyway.
Yeah.
Instance
some scandalous decisions,
Instance during the week. What were there was a few last weekend as well in the Premier League.
Did you see the one last night with Harry Kane?
Yeah, now I thought instant look, everybody becomes a VAR expert when something like this happens. Like, I don't know. I was only reading comments on Twitter and all. I think technically it was offside. Was it? Technically, that was the right decision, is it?
So the ball, it's a hard one to figure out. So the ball was ahead of Kane, but he was still offside because part of Kane's body was
Ahead of the player that played it.
ahead of the player that played
But the
it, or
ball went
some
backwards. Yeah, because I
but
was
the
just
ball
reading
went
comments on
backwards.
Twitter. I was reading
Yeah.
comments on Twitter, and there was lads going, giving it the big one. They were like, "Oh, just because the ball goes backwards doesn't mean you're not offside." And I was like, "Well, I played football for 12 years, junior, and I would have always presumed if the ball goes backwards that you're onside."
Yeah.
I just would have thought like the ball's going
Well,
backwards. That means
the
it's going to
referees
someone who's
in any
behind you.
district league can't fucking cop offsides when the ball's going forward anyway, let alone when the ball's going backwards. So I don't think you have that to worry
Was there a
about
big?
there. I
Was
heard you
there a
got the
big?
winner on Sunday, boy. The big head came up for another header, I heard.
I got that fat head on one, but
Happy days.
was there issues last weekend with VAR in the Premier League?
There issues with VAR. There was. I can't remember what they were now,
Yeah, I
though,
can't
to be
remember
quite
either
honest
now.
with you.
But look, it's
Anyway,
I think though, just quickly on
scrap
the
it or
VAR,
keep it.
I think because it's in, you have to keep it. I think
Yeah.
it's not VAR that's getting it wrong; it's the human error that's getting it wrong because people
Yeah.
are manning these systems. It's sorry, Paul Gregory just throw in the pen Chelsea got, but think it was Arsenal who had the same sort of incident that was refused.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. You see, this is that penalty, right? Just on that penalty incident alone, you probably feel hard done by as a defender, but at the same time, what is Max Sauce doing? Like,
Yeah,
he's
and
swinging out of him. Like,
yeah, and it's the
you're
second arm, right? The
you're
first arm
making
that goes across him, the first arm that goes across him to stop him running, right? That happens all the time, right?
yeah.
But when the second arm comes around the
Oh, but
other
he
side of
does
him,
it. He
that's
does
when
it for
it's a
like
penalty.
3 seconds. Do you know, like that's a long time in real
Yeah,
time. And like
yeah,
he's
when the
he's
corners are saying
grabbing
him.
him. Like all your man has to do is throw himself over it. Oh look, he became public. He was already odd. He became public enemy number one right there, didn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I don't
But
know.
like
Oh,
it goes like if Casemiro hadn't have got that winner at the end, or sorry, the equalizer at the end. I'd say Scott McTominay was just got him into the dressing room and just shifted the face off him. I'd say, and just
yeah.
said thank you, because
Yeah.
he would have been getting it all over the press, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Look,
But
Casemiro's
anyway,
coming into it now, yeah, but look.
he is absolutely 7 starts in a row now tonight. He had, and he's the player we needed. He really is, and we've been crying out for a proper CDM for 5 years now. Ever since
Crazy.
Carrick retired, I think, more than
It's
anything.
crazy,
Carrick
like
wasn't even.
it's crazy to see the squad depth that Real Madrid have, that they don't even give a flying fuck that he's gone.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, it's unreal.
That
Like
Valverde, see
Yeah.
Valverde scored again last. That Valverde is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. But even some of the young lads coming through, like that Camavinga is going to be some player as well.
I'd say that lad's
You know what I
only
mean?
I'd say that lad's young enough to have Valverde. They've
Yeah.
Camavinga. They've that Tuchilemi, is it?
Tuchemi or
Tuchilemi or something, and they have another. Then they just have Kroos and Modric anyway, and they're just probably going to sign Bellingham in the summer.
Do you think they'll get him?
Well, I tell you one thing.
Heavy for him.
Yeah, they could. I tell you one thing, and even talking to some of my friends that are big Liverpool fans, I do not think Liverpool will get him, and that's no disrespect to them. So. That's just the sheer firepower. What, like, United will throw big bucks at him because they can throw. They always throw big bucks at players anyway. It's not in kind of Liverpool's, say, armory to do that. And I was listening to a podcast last week where they were talking about this, and they were saying he's a Brummie, like he's born and bred in Birmingham, played for Birmingham. It's not like he's a lifelong Liverpool fan. They're like,
yeah,
other clubs will give him bigger wages. Do you know, like even Man City there is probably, I'd say Man City in England are definitely the favourites to get him now. Like
probably
him to link back up with Haaland.
Yeah, well, he could come to United and link back up with Sancho.
I, yeah, that'd be some pull there. But but like if he was to go to Haaland, like the thing is, then in England, like they have a few
But see, the
English
thing
too.
about
They
it
have
is
Kyle
City don't
Walker.
need him though.
No, but when did that stop him getting going for a
I
player?
know.
Yeah, but also you have to do to get him is like they'll sell they'll sell Bernardo Silva. He
For
plays in
Gundogan
1 to
or
3.
someone.
Yeah, but Gundogan is coming to 33. He'll play across them boys in the middle, Like
Yeah.
it's not that any team doesn't need Bellingham. You could blood him into any team.
Yeah, you'd build your team around a player like him anyway. You know what I mean? Anyway, my whale of the week before we finish up is Cristiano Ronaldo. As a
Yeah.
United fan, it just has to be. I said it on a TikTok at the end of August, so nearly 3 months ago. I said it, and basically my words were, and it was after the transfer request had gone in, and all of the talk was about, it was about Cristiano Ronaldo wanting to leave rather than the great preseason we're after having and all of that kind of crack. And basically, I said that if Manchester United keep Cristiano Ronaldo for the next 9 months, it's going to be Ronaldo as story number one, and it's going to be football as story number two.
I see that. I seen that.
And for that reason, I thought that's why we should have let him go. And I think, look, it's good to have him back, and he scored again tonight. And I think Ten Hag dealt with the situation perfectly. And, while he's there, why not use him to whatever way the manager wants, But we finally have a manager now that we're going in we can see the direction we're going in, and it's pleasing on the eye. And you can see only after 3 months or so how much he's already after improving the team. Ronaldo isn't the future of Manchester United. And I think the sooner Ronaldo and United can part ways, the better. But on the flip side of that, there's nothing more that I would love to see Ronaldo finish out the season with United and for him to get the winner in the Europa League, against Arsenal or someone, and just to go out that way. You know what I mean? But I do think he has to lower his expectations on what he's going to get out of this. He's not going to start every game. He's not going to score as many goals as he used to. He has to learn how to be a squad player.
Yeah, I agree, and I think like from a perspective of any fan of Manchester United, they would love to see exactly what you said there. Just Ronaldo finishing strong, going out on a high, like having a good Imagine United season went with ye finishing third in the league and maybe lifting the Europa League or lifting the FA Cup, and Ronaldo got to lift one of them just before he went off. I know they're not the most prestigious. I don't know how actually the FA Cup has fallen so far down the pecking order.
It's just money, man.
I know a lot of teams don't care about it,
because of money.
Cup, when we were growing up, the FA Cup was unbelievable. If you won the FA Cup only in a season, it was a great season. Not for United, but maybe for other teams.
That's the thing. But you got into Europe if you won the FA Cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was one of the big pulls out of it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, what's devaluing Europe kind of is all these not Europa League.
Yes, the lesser.
Just before we go, I'll give you one example of how bad this Conference League is. In Scotland, you have Celtic and Rangers. Because they did half okay last year, Rangers got to the Europa League final, they did very well. They got the coefficient of Scotland up. This coefficient, they moved ahead of Ukraine or someone, I'm not sure, someone like that.
Yeah.
So Celtic qualified straight for the Champions League group. To be fair to Rangers, they went through 3 qualifying phases. So they had to play 6 games and qualified for the Champions League. Hearts, who finished third in the league and are absolutely dirt, came along and they had the Europa League qualifier. And they lost the 2 legs of the Europa League qualifier. And because they lost the 2 of them, they went straight into the group stages of the conference. So Hearts got into the conference, not by them performing well, but by Rangers and Celtic performing decent the year before. Just by default, this new tournament started, they got put into that.
It's all a money spin, man. It's all for advertising and, getting more sponsorship deals and all of that kind of stuff.
It kind of ruins the whole buzz of it,
It does. It takes away. It
takes away the prestigiousness. I know there's nothing like win the Champions League.
Yeah.
The best team is still going to win the Champions League. But when I'm looking through my phone there tonight, and there's 20, 30 odd games on there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know half the teams.
Exactly.
But look, Jack, we will wrap it.
Anyway,
thanks very much.
We'll wrap it up, guys.
Tired. You have a family
tired.
to go to.
Anyone that's still in there, I appreciate anyone who's listening, anyone who's watched. If you have not done so already, please smash a like on the video. If you're listening back to this at a later stage, wherever you listen to your podcast, please give us a 5-star review and follow us or subscribe to us. We really would appreciate it. But until the next time, you can find us as United Community Channel on all platforms, wherever you want to follow us. Go check it out. But until next time, appreciate it. Ricey, thanks a mil. Everyone else,
See you later, bud.
See you again.
See you, boys.
Take it easy.